Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. I hope your Saturday's going well. There has been talk of a fight between Terence Crawford and CHRIS EUBANK Jr. And of course this came completely out of the blue. Everybody's eyes were all on the sort of Joshua and Ngannou KO chaos thing, whatever the hell it was in Riyadh. And this has not been finalised, not by any means, but Eubank has alluded to it. I think Talk Sport, I think I read something on Talk Sport. They're saying, yeah, it's probably going to go ahead. Or, you know, they're optimistic it will go ahead. I shouldn't say probably because, as I say, nothing's been finalised. But, of course, it does beg the question, you know, why? What is this about? This is another really strange CHRIS EUBANK Jr. fight. And Eubank Jr. has been very open about the fact that he wants money. He doesn't seem particularly interested in any kind of, you know, world title legacy. He wants as much money as possible. And that's fair enough. It's prize fighting. At least he's honest. It's not like Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora for years and years, for at least a decade, has said, I don't care about world titles. Give me the money. I know my worth. Give me money. And I kind of respect that in any fighter. Because when you consider the sort of proliferation of all these different belts, it is difficult to sort of say, well, exactly how much is a world title belt worth? The example I always use is Adrian Broner is a world title holder in 4 different weights. Can you remember anyone he beat to win those belts? I think at least 2 of them were vacant. I know he beat Malignaggi for the welterweight. Is it WBA welterweight? And he beat Mexican guy's name I can't remember for the super feather belt, I think. Anyway, the point is, it is prize fighting, and if you want to make money, that's absolutely fine. So I guess Crawford, a big name in boxing, amongst boxing circles, yes, he's a very big name, but would he draw in the numbers to make this an absolute blockbuster fight? I suppose in America, maybe, although Crawford's pay-per-views in the past, even the one against Spence, it didn't exactly, you know, break any records, did it? It didn't exactly reach dazzlingly high numbers. So I'm a little bit, I think it's a little bit of a strange one. You would think the most money would be against Conor Benn. That's the one they all talked about, especially with all the controversy. I mean, there's no such thing as bad publicity. Controversy sells. 2 big names, Benn and Eubank, put them together. You would think that's where the money is, but Eubank, whether it's out of a genuinely not being happy with his slice of the pie, or whether it's just because he can't stand Conor Benn because of the whole PED thing, maybe he's just said, I've had enough of Benn. Get lost. I'm going to go somewhere else. And if he was to fight Crawford, yeah, it would be. It would probably sell. It would, but I don't know. I'm not 100% certain. I'm sort of. I think 60-40 it would sell. You know, make reasonable numbers, but it wouldn't be a blockbuster. And it's hard to see where the money would come from. It would probably be on pay-per-view. Now, from Bud's point of view, what does he get out of fighting Eubank Jr.? I'm assuming this would be at 160. And there was talk about Crawford fighting Canelo, which I think is a horrible fight. I hated that idea. I'm glad it's not going to happen. You know, a welterweight fighter, a former lightweight fighting a super middleweight. Nah, I'm not into this at all. And to be honest, I hated the Conor Benn, CHRIS EUBANK Jr. fight. I think these are gimmick fights. And to some extent, I think Crawford versus Eubank Jr. is a gimmick fight. But if Crawford wants to sort of gate crash the middleweight rankings rather than stop off at super welterweight, he might see Eubank Jr. as an easy option to do so, because Eubank Jr. currently is ranked, believe it or not, don't shoot the messenger, 3rd by the WBC. All right. These are the top 15, by the way. He's ranked 9th by the WBA. I think he's unranked by the IBF in their top 15. But he's ranked 2nd by the WBO. And Crawford, for a long, long time, was a WBO champ. And he's held, you know, he's been undisputed in 2 weights. So he's got, one would assume he's got a good relationship with all of the ruling bodies. And therefore, if he was to beat Eubank Jr., by no means a big name in the United States, but nevertheless quite well known in Britain, he could gate crash the rankings and, you know, suddenly find himself in the top 5, the top 3 even, of some of those ruling bodies. And that would give him maybe an inside track to fighting for a middleweight belt. Now, bear in mind that the middleweights, it's not exactly a prime era for the middleweights, is it? You know, who have we got? WBA is being held to ransom by Erazlandi Lara. Janibek Alamkhalule holds 2 of the belts, WBO and IBF, I think. And Jamal Charlo, excuse me, I was going to mix up with the A, Jamal Charlo. Somehow, despite not having defended for about 2.5 years, he's still got the WBC belt. So it is maybe, I want Bud to stop off at 154. And, you know, I think a great matchup would be, I think there's some good matchups there. I think, you know, you got Tinzu, I think is a good fight for him. Who's the guy who won at the weekend? My mind's gone blank. Not Kurbanov, the guy who beat him, Madrimov. Madrimov won the WBA vacant belt. That's a possibility. I'd like to see him stop off at 154. But maybe, you know, maybe he just feels I'd be more comfortable at 160. Maybe he wants that challenge. I don't know. But I do wonder if that's his tactic. Look, this Eubank Jr. Crawford fight may not even come off. We don't know yet. But apparently there are negotiations for it. And the only way I can see, the only possible logic I can see behind Bud fighting Eubank Jr. is to gate crash the middleweight rankings. But what's wrong with the 154 guys? I don't know. I don't like the fight. I actually hope it doesn't happen. People have asked me about it, which is why I'm doing this video. I can only speculate and sort of surmise accurately or inaccurately. It'll all come out in the wash. I did a video actually a while back about Eubank Jr. saying what is up with his career? Where's he going? I mean, it's such a strange, you know. When it was proposed to him by Wasserman that he should fight Janibek, he was like, "Who the hell's Janibek? What do I want to fight him for? No one knows who he is." Well, a lot of people know who Crawford is, but they're boxing fans. Crawford is not a crossover mainstream guy. He's not like a Fury or a Canelo or, you know, brilliant fighter, magnificent fighter, no doubt at all. And there's also people, you know, to be honest with you, I'd rather see Eubank Jr. fight some of the you know, the British middleweights. Hamza Shiraz. Hamza Shiraz is actually ranked 2 by the WBC. Can you believe that? Number 2 already. I think he's actually number 1 with the WBO. Look, don't ask me how they put these rankings together. I've genuinely no idea. But in terms of attractive matchups, I want to see middleweights in with middleweights. I want to see welterweights in with welterweights. I don't want to see people jumping up 2 or 3 divisions. I'm sick to death of that. You know, great fighters. Like one of my all-time favourites is Marvin Hagler. Marvin Hagler fought at middleweight his entire career and is considered to be a truly great fighter, rightly so. And he cleaned up the division and he dominated it for 7 years. Now, the irony, of course, is that he was beaten by a former welterweight, beaten in inverted commas, because a lot of people, myself included, think Marvin edged that fight. There wasn't a great deal in it, but I thought Marvin won it. Brilliant performance by Leonard, Sugar Ray Leonard, but I thought Marvin won it. But anyway, the point is, I don't see jumping up and down weights as being a sort of fast track to the Hall of Fame. And again, I would use Broner as a perfect example. You know, someone who pissed most of his talent away, but somehow is still a 4-weight world champion. Can you believe it? That's the state that these ruling bodies are in. Terrible, really. But anyway, let me know what you think. Perhaps you disagree with me. Perhaps you would like to see Eubank Jr. against Crawford. If not, who would you like to see Crawford fight again? Or who would you like to see Crawford fight in the future? And who would you like to see Eubank Jr. fight instead of each other? Do you agree with me about all this weight jumping? Maybe you don't. You know, that's fine. I don't mind. We can disagree. So let me know your opinions. Thank you for your time. As always, if you're new to the channel, you could subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Takes a second. Costs you nothing. and also the like button as well. And I appreciate your time. I'll catch you later. Bye for now.